Hello and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be talking about what is Companies House. Because if you're looking to do business and create a business in any form whatsoever, one of the questions you're going to have to ask yourself is, what sort of business do I want to create? Is it going to be a sole trader or a limited company? And if you're on a limited company basis, then you're going to need to know what Companies House is, because effectively that's what controls and runs what a limited company can do. So let's get straight into it and find out exactly what a limited company is. Hello, my name is Patrick. I'm a chartered accountant, a certified UK trainer, fancy new logo, that QuickBooks Chap on the internet, and also head of accounts here at Boffix. Now in today's video we're talking about Companies House, and we're going to start straight into what actually is Companies House. Well, Companies House is effectively a register of all the limited companies within the UK. And actually there's millions of companies already on there, with hundreds of thousands of new ones added each and every year. It has offices in Cardiff, Edinburgh, London and Belfast, and employs well over 1,000 people. And has a history stretching all the way back to 1844. But why does Companies House exist? Well, it exists to promote corporate transparency by ensuring that whatever a group of people from a company doing business, its internal workings are laid bare for anyone to inspect in public register. It records the who, what, when, where of a company and makes it easily accessible. This gives company officers an incentive to act in good faith, since they know that the corporate actions are a matter of public record. A healthy way, and probably the way that I would look at this, viewing a company relationship with Companies House, is that limited liability, so that ability where you personally won't be liable for any issues, is a privilege. And providing public records is the price paid for that privilege. Disclosing key information about its affairs is how a company buys the keys to the castle of a separate legal entity status, protecting its personnel from losing their own assets in the case of insolvency. The Public Register of Companies details enables people to check up on companies which they are considering doing business. A potential customer, supplier, partner, basically a stakeholder, can often benefit from consulting the public record where they may. Look at the company's financial position and ownership structure, confirm the people who claim to represent the company as directors and formally appoint as such, ensure filings are up to date, and that's a really crucial indication, and satisfy themselves that other matters of governance are properly attended and have credibility. The existence of a national register of companies serves not only to make companies' internal affairs transparent, but also to simplify litigation against and by companies. Before there was such a register of limited companies, this is to say up to until the mid-19th centuries, companies could only be formed by a royal charter or private act. The rest of the population could only form unincorporated associations, which sometimes had very large numbers of members. Litigation occurred in the joint names of all members and could become complex. By contrast, a modern limited company is a legal entity separate from its members and directors, and can be sued or be sued in ways in which closely resemble those employed between individuals. But what does Companies House actually do? Well, Companies House has three functions. It can incorporate and dissolve limited companies, examine and store information of limited companies that is required by law, and make the information available to the public. Let's look at these functions in each turn. Incorporate and dissolve. Well, every new limited company comes into being in existence and register at Companies House in a process known as incorporation. Once incorporated, a company must keep its records up to date by regularly filing its details and accounts with Companies House. These are penalties for failing to do so on time. When a company has reached the end of its useful life and is free of debt, it can be dissolved or struck off the register. This is done via form DSO1, following a process of checks to ensure that employees have been paid, assets sold, bank accounts closed, and all debts settled. Companies House will check the form is filled in correctly and then publish a notice in the Gazette. A publication that exists for the purpose of such statutory announcements. If nobody has objected to the dissolution, a second notice will be placed in the Gazette after 2 months, and the company will therefore cease to exist. Examine and store. Companies House companies' details and makes them available for the public to examine at any time. Details of the public record include registered address, nature of the business, names of directors, names of PSCs, persons with significant control, name of company secretary, status, if it's active, dissolved, or is struck off, names and holdings of shareholders, also known as members, share structure, loans and mortgages held by the company. Changes to any of the above must be notified to Companies House promptly so that it can update the public record. Companies are legally required to provide these details. In a very small number of instances, certain information that must be provided to Companies House is withheld from public record, such as residency addresses of the directors. Companies House is at pains to point out that it's not to claim to verify the accuracy of the information it holds on the UK limited companies. It performs basic checks of documents it receives to ensure they are correctly completed and signed, and doesn't much to enforce compliance to the Companies Act 2006, but has no power to officially verify, validate or confirm the accuracy of the information it's given. Every limited company must submit a yearly update called a confirmation statement. It keeps a fresh trail of company records by A, confirming what's not changed, and B, declaring what has. Making information available to the public. Well, most UK business people know where to look for basic information on a limited company. You go to Companies House, search page known as Companies House Beta, and type in the company name, and this returns the following data: the registered address, the type, private limited LLP, the nature of the business or its SIC code, data of incorporation, when the next confirmation statement is due, when the next accounts are due, any previous company names, particulars of people, directors, company secretary and PSCs, any charges the Companies House, e.g. mortgages, and filing history, accounts, confirmation statement, changes of details and other filings the Companies House made. The above is all downloadable as PDFs, and by creating a free account, anybody can download a company snapshot, a report consisting of the above information about the company. A signed certificate of incorporation and a certified copy of any document from a company's filing history, and these can be required for various reasons, but often is to prove a company's good standing. One of the most frequently searches on Companies House database is a director search. People want to find out of the identities of those running a company, or conversely to see which company somebody is a director of. It's easily done by searching Companies House online. There's many ways to file information with Companies House. Mostly it's done by software, but there are paper filing options as well. And then finally there's web filing. Companies House made the web filing solution an option for the smaller companies to be able to file their own set of documents. Both free and paid for documents can be submitted by the web filing. For example, it costs £13 to file a confirmation statement, but there's no charge for changing a company's registered office address. Certain companies cannot use web filing, for example those with 1,000 shareholders or complex share structures. And there we have it, a breakdown of what Companies House is and what it's there for. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to go into a little bit more detail about some of those aspects, and also how we can help as well. At the end of the day, this channel is all about making sure that small businesses doesn't just survive, but thrive. And understanding what Companies House can do for them is one of those big steps that's going to help you make sure that you're not just surviving, but you're thriving. My name's been Alan Patrick. This video has been an absolute pleasure to do for you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.